What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Big, starring Tom Hanks. Big tells the story of this kid named Josh, who is a 13-year-old boy. One day he goes to a carnival, sees a creepy machine called Zoltar, makes a wish that he wants to be an adult, and then the next day he wakes up as a 30-year-old man who's played by Tom Hanks. That's the overall story of Big. Let's talk about it. I remember watching this movie a lot when I was a kid. I loved it then, and I still love it now. I think Big is just a really good, feel-good fantasy comedy movie that is held together by a very fun performance by Tom Hanks, who I feel does a great job playing a 13-year-old boy without being goofy or over the top with it. Like, he plays it with a sense of innocence, where it doesn't come across, where it legitimately comes across as Josh in an older body, just acting curious to the world around him, and not being comfortable with the situation that he's in now that he's in an adult form. And I thought that Tom Hanks did a fantastic job at playing adult Josh. I also like the development of adult Josh. How at first when he sees himself as an adult, he's scared and doesn't know what to do. But as the film progresses, he kind of fits into that role, especially when he gets a job at a place called Macmillan Toys, and he starts to develop certain relationships with the owner Macmillan, played by Robert Loggia, and starts a romance with Susan, who is played by Elizabeth Perkins, and then has a rivalry with the character played by John Hurt. That's where Josh starts to find his element as an adult. But while all the while, his friend Billy in the subplot is trying to find the Zoltar machine to try and get Josh to be a kid again. But I also like how the movie kind of teases that Josh is getting so lost in being a kid that he almost does not want to go back to being a kid, because he falls in love with Susan, and he wants to remain as an adult, but he knows he has to go back. And like I said, I thought Tom Hanks' performance at balancing all of those different type of emotions was outstanding. Tom Hanks in this movie is awesome. I can't picture no one else in this movie aside from Tom Hanks. The supporting cast that surrounds Tom Hanks. I briefly discussed that you have Elizabeth Perkins and Robert Loggia and John Hurt in this movie. I thought they played their role really, really well, and I thought that Tom Hanks has good chemistry with each one of these actors in separate scenes. I like the relationship he has with the Macmillan character. It comes across as like a student mentor type of relationship. You can tell that Macmillan, he's fascinated and wants to hear some of Josh's ideas when they're discussing about toys, Macmillan, the toy manufacturer. I like those scenes together, and of course it culminates in the toy scene where they're playing chopsticks on the floor piano, which is just a great fun scene I love all that stuff. I like the antagonistic relationship that Josh has with the John Hurt character. I think those scenes are really funny, and the culmination of that scene is where they're having a meeting, and Josh is trying to come up with an idea for Transformers, and the entire time he's doing it, he keeps saying, "I don't get it, I don't get it," and then when you finally get to the end, you got John Hurt, just mocking him like, "I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it." Funny stuff. Like the late John Hurt, I don't think he'll get enough credit for being a good comedian, because John Hurt, he was really funny during his time, and in this movie, I thought he was hilarious at just playing a good dick and a good foil to Josh as an adult. Uh, Elizabeth Perkins, who plays the character of Susan, I thought she was great, and the innocent romance that developed between Josh and Susan, I thought was really well handled. And Hanks and Perkins, they have some really good on-screen chemistry with one another. Like, I thought they worked really, really well off one another. They did a good job. And the actor who played Billy, Josh's friend, I liked the little actor. I liked the chemistry between the two, between Tom Hanks and the child actor. I thought they worked really, really well off one another. If I were to have any complaints, I think there are moments where Billy kind of disappears from the movie a lot, and you kind of almost forget that he's around until you get a random scene with him hanging out with Josh. I think Billy should have been maybe a little bit more prominent when Josh is more an adult. Maybe get a little bit more scenes with them, because there are some long stretches where Billy kind of disappears. The same with Josh's family, as they're frantically trying to find out where Josh is. They're kept largely in the background. We don't really get to see too much of them, just aside from just some phone calls here and there and a brief montage. But that's pretty much it. Those are really my two minor big gripes with this movie. They're not really they're minor at best. But the rest of this movie, I think, is fantastic. I like the opening prologue when we see Josh as a kid, who's like an everyday teenager. Because of his age, he can't do certain things, and that's what makes him find the Zoltar machine. One of the things I do like, and I thought Penny Marshall did a great job with this, is that she made the Zoltar, machine. She made it look creepy, but she also gave it that eerie, ominous curiosity to it, without going overboard into like a horror element. I give her a lot of credit for making the Zoltar machine just appear very ominous, but also gave it like a slight whimsical factor to it. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was great the way she did it. Just in general, I thought Penny Marshall did a fantastic job just directing this movie in general. Big is such a great movie. It's a fun, light-hearted comedy held together by a fantastic performance by Tom Hanks and backed by a really good and strong supporting cast. This movie's got a lot of good funny moments to it. It's got some good characters to it, and it's just an all around great, relatable movie of any teenage kid who just wishes they were adults. That way, they can do certain things that they can't do because of the limitations of their age. So yeah. With all that being said, Big to me gets a solid 9.5 out of 10. I love this movie. It still holds up. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Big. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.